Welcome back to the show, Digital Business Evolution. This is part 2 of a 2-part series where I was breaking down 8 of the key indicators that I think are pretty much red flags to say, run the other way. Because these things, in my opinion, are tactics that people are using that are tarnishing our industry. They are draining people's bank accounts, and they are making people feel not seen, not heard, totally defeated, taken advantage of, and absolutely afraid to trust again. So in the first episode, I told you the first 4 in no order, and they were people are over-promising and under-delivering. If you want to hear all about that, go listen to that first part. The second indicator was they are claiming to not use pain point marketing while actually using pain point marketing. It's very ironic. Number 3 is predatory marketing, which is an entire conversation and an umbrella of sort of what the issues are and where they've stemmed from. And then number 4 is, like the crabs, they are tearing other people and businesses down in an effort to raise theirs up. Now, I said in a disclaimer in part 1 of this episode, I am not tearing other businesses down. I am in no way pointing fingers. I am definitely not talking about specific people or things or companies. I've just been in this industry for 11 years and I've seen a lot of things. And over the past couple of years, I've seen a lot of things that I don't really like. And most importantly, I've had a lot of clients ask me, how do I stay away from that? How do I navigate against that? How do I make sure those things don't happen to me? How do I make sure that I don't get sucked into some of the stuff that I've heard other people get sucked into, specifically these investments that are just not truthful? It's not even that they're not yielding an ROI. It's like they're not getting what they were promised. And this is happening more and more. And so I want to have a conversation about it. And when I put this post up on Instagram a couple weeks back, it really had a lot of buzz. It had a lot of great conversation. It had a lot of really great insight. A lot of people saying, thank you so much for saying this. I've been seeing this. It's driving me crazy. I was so scared to say something. So that's what we're here for today. I want to finish up with the other 4 things. Again, these are not in any particular order. You're going to look at me. You're going to notice me on YouTube glancing down at my computer because I have some notes here. I don't want to miss anything. So let's get right into it. This would be number 5, technically, of the 8. And this is the idea of putting the cart before the horse in marketing. Putting the cart before the horse in marketing. So what do I mean here? That is essentially like, we all need to start somewhere, okay? I was a waitress and a bartender back in the day, woot woot, right? And there were a lot of restaurants that I walked into to try to get a job at when I first started, and they all said the same thing. We don't hire anybody without experience. And I would leave like scratching my head. Conceptually, I get it. I wouldn't want to hire someone without experience either, but tell me, how am I supposed to get experience if nobody's willing to hire me, right? Makes sense. And so I get sometimes how it's like this weird cart before the horse thing, like how do I get experience before you'll hire me? But making promises and claims that you can help people do X, Y, Z when you've never done it and you've never helped anyone else do it just doesn't feel truthful for me. Where I see this most is in the business coaching arena. It's in the I can help you make money arena. I'm not really seeing this as prevalent in health and fitness or dog trainers or maybe real estate agents, at least not in my world, but I am seeing this a lot in business niches where it's like I can help you make money. And what people are doing is they're saying in their marketing that like this is how I can help you do this thing that I've never actually done. Now, interesting conversation. I use Tom Brady and Bill Belichick all the time. We're Patriots fans in this house, okay? So Bill Belichick is the coach of the Patriots, has been for a very, very long time. If you don't know Tom Brady, I don't know what to tell you, okay? Bill Belichick, if you've ever seen him, is an older, slightly overweight man who I assure you cannot run, catch, throw, or kick as well, probably not even close to as well as any of his athletes. So could it be true that you could coach someone on something that you can't physically do? Absolutely. He, in fact, is like a third eye. He's like a different perspective, a 30,000-foot view. He's looking from the outside. He's a master at placing people on the field and understanding the plays, and that's what he's been studying for all these years. That is his zone of excellence. That is his zone of genius, him being the coach. So could it be true that you could coach someone on something or teach someone or help someone with something that you have not personally done? Absolutely. Absolutely, you can. The issue I have though is when there's just blatant lies in the marketing, blatant lies of, I made this much money so I can help you make that much money when that person has not. Or the one that really bugs me is the hours that they work. So I have had clients both with the, how much money I'm making or how many hours. I have had people in my masterminds, in my peers, in friendships that I know behind the scenes are working 80 hours a week, right? And they work 80 hours a week for a year or two, and they build their business up to this incredible place, and they're making all of this impact, and they're making all of this income, and then they have a team, and they start running ads, and they do all this other stuff, and then they're finally able to come down to maybe 10 or 20 hours a week of work. But then all of a sudden in their marketing, they're selling that they only work 10 hours a week, and they built this big business. But that's not the truth. It's like you worked all of these extra hours to build the business. Now you're in a place where you're working less. There's a very fine line when it comes to marketing when people are claiming that their method or their tool or their one particular thing is what got them to where they are today, and that sometimes is not the truth. So I would just be mindful of anyone putting the cart before the horse. The horse has to go before the cart. If you've ever seen a horse and carriage, right? Like the horse is in front of the carriage, the horse is what's moving the carriage right along. Okay, number 6. Copying content or regurgitating information, period. Like that's a trademarking and a copywriting infringement issue, right? Unfortunately, it has happened to me. We have had people come through programs and take my content. We've had people copy my content on the internet. We've had fake accounts of mine where people are literally stealing my content. I've had emails of mine and blogs of mine that have been totally stolen and put out as theirs. For me, it's less of like a copying problem, honestly. I get like, it's not even that. It's the regurgitating the information and teaching the information without the experience behind it, without the time to embody what it is, to actually fully understand, comprehend, learn, and embody the thing in your own life or in your own business before you're going and teaching. So it's not so much that I even care about the copying, which of course is not right. We should not be doing that. And if you are going to do something like that, just credit the person. Like if you're going to quote someone, credit them. If you're going to take someone's caption, credit them. Ask permission as well. I've DM'd people before. I DM'd my friend Jill, I don't know, 6 months ago, a year ago. I said, wow, your caption today, your content today was so good. Do you mind if I credit you, shout you out, and piggyback off of what you said? And obviously she said, no, absolutely, go for it. And then I tagged her in it and I said, Jill said this today. It was a great post. You should go read it. I want to piggyback off of it. There's no sense in me trying to reinvent the wheel. I can't say it better than how she said it, but I'm going to also extend on that, right? So the issue for me isn't even the copying, which clearly it is an issue. It's the regurgitating the information and selling and marketing the information as though it's not even yours, but as though it's something that you're capable of even teaching. The issue lies in the fact that that could be dangerous. And I can't help but think here of health and fitness specifically. If you're not trained and certified in that method, that modality, that breath work, if you don't know enough about prenatal and postnatal, just because some influencer on the internet did this workout does not mean that's what you should be teaching other people. That could be dangerous. And that is the part that I really have trouble with. So the copying the content and the regurgitating information without the full context is really important, okay? I started to say it before, this would be, I don't know, number 8, I guess we're at 7, 8. The lying about how much you work or the lying about how much money you make just to make more sales. So we talked about it before in the context of how many hours you work, but one magical masterclass isn't going to teach someone all of that information where they're then going to get this outcome that you've actually spent years working on. The years that you've put in, the consistency, the lessons, the audience that you've built, all of that stuff, that's probably what got you to where you are. What we need to do is we need to stop avoiding sharing our chapters 1 through 10 and only selling chapter 11. Because what we're doing collectively as an entire society is we're giving misinformation about what it actually takes to get to chapter 11. And with that misinformation, now expectations equal experience. We have people who think that it's going to take X when really it's going to take Y. We have people who come into an industry like digital marketing and education and coaching and content creation thinking that it's going to take take X, but really it requires Y, and they are left very unhappy very quickly. They're let down, they are overwhelmed, they are upset, they feel it's not for them. In fact, we have people that are trying out in this industry who shouldn't even be trying out in this industry because they actually don't even want to be in this industry, but they think that it's trending and that they have to and that they're going to be left behind if they don't. So it's really important for us to share all of our chapters 1 through 10, not just chapter 11. Okay, I think we're on number 8 here. This is the last one. Screenshots of your bank account to sell more, or how much you've invested in yourself to sell more. Both of those things just need to stop. It's absolutely irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant. Now, I will share screenshots of my client wins all day. That's the flex. I will share my client wins, whether financial or non-financial. They're paying off credit card debt, they're buying a new home, they had a $50,000 launch, they had a mindset breakthrough, they finally feel worthy, they did their first Instagram live. I will share those until I'm blue in the face because that is evidence of what I am teaching. That's evidence of the system and the method. That's evidence of what our clients are able to do. But what we need to stop doing is using our quote unquote revenue as marketing. And the reason I say quote unquote revenue, because here's the deal. Revenue and profit are not the same thing. What you should care about as a business owner is your profit margins. You shouldn't care as much about your revenue. I personally know people, I have watched this go down multiple times. I personally know someone who made $800,000 in revenue. This was about 2 years ago. That's incredible. $800,000 in revenue. However, what I also know is that they spent $1.2 million in overhead, in ads, in team. And so this person was actually $400,000 in the red. So this person is not an example of someone who was sharing revenue screenshots. They absolutely were not. But can you see how manipulative and how honestly like sleazy it would be if they were sharing the $800,000 revenue and that's all they were sharing without the full story, without the context of the fact that they actually spent $400,000 to make $800,000, which at the end of the day is not a great profit margin. And so there are people who have millions in the bank, multiple millions, and they're not sharing screenshots. They just are wealthy. They just are rich. They just are out there giving. They're giving free content, right? The money that you make is incredible. And I also have revenue goals. We do every single year. We have goals. It's something that we work towards. We have profit goals. We have revenue goals. I'm proud when we hit those goals. I'm proud when we don't hit those goals. I'm proud when we surpass those goals. But how much money someone makes or perceives to make should have no indicator on what they can help you with. Because again, if we go back to the other 7 things that I talked about, unfortunately, there are actually a lot of people making a ton of money right now because people are paying them because of false promises, because of over-promising and under-delivering, because of predatory marketing, because of cart before the horse. People are paying them a lot of money, and so they're making a lot of money, and they're sharing that money that they're making on the internet. But then they're not actually delivering, or they're not getting people results, but they're just cashing in, cashing in, cashing in. So I personally don't hire coaches on how much money they make. I also don't hire them based on their profit margins, right? And I definitely don't hire them based on how much money they say they've invested in themselves. Look, I want a coach or a mentor who does the work. I want someone who's walking the walk. I want someone who is investing in themselves. They're doing the personal development. They have their own mentor, or at least they have in the past. I do want someone who's in the weeds. They're in the trenches, but I don't care how much they're investing. I don't care who they're investing in. That is not a determining factor for me. I don't think that's something to be celebrated or to look for. We've invested a lot in our business over the years. I've invested a lot in myself. I've had mentors since 2014. Do the math. Even if they were only just a couple $1,000s a year, that would be a lot of money. And they're a lot more than that, some of them. But that doesn't matter. Someone's screenshot of their bank account is irrelevant. And with that, all of these things are interconnected. So something that's also happening is that screenshots of bank accounts are happening from people who are selling the cart before the horse. They're saying that they've made this money here. Let me show you. Here's a screenshot by doing this method. But what's actually happening is they're making money because people are paying them to learn how they made the money. But if the people weren't paying them to learn how to make the money, they wouldn't have made the money. And so like there's this weird cycle that's happening. So anyway, I digress. 8 little red flags, 8 little key indicators that I deeply believe are an issue in the industry. I'm so excited and I'm proud to say that I think that these are being shown, like they're being showcased. There's a flashlight that's been lit and people are seeing this now. The gaslighting that's been going on, that predatory marketing, all of that that's been going on for a couple of years, people are seeing it now and it's been talked about now. And it's being talked about hopefully in a way that I have hopefully presented it, where I'm not pointing fingers, I'm not saying any is bad or good or wrong. Some of this stuff just is unethical. Some of this stuff is just not okay. And what kills me is that I am a part of this industry where this is happening. This is happening, and I don't want to be associated with it. That is not how we run this company. And if you've ever been a part of any of our free content or our paid programs, anything, I know for sure that you can back me on that because I've heard it thousands and thousands of times. And I know that we make decisions in this company from a place of integrity. It is the first thing that we always talk about. It's the first core value. And so for a very long time, I felt like I needed to warn people. I needed to tell everybody what was going on. And I felt so much anger and so much resentment and so much sadness for what was happening in this industry. And there was a lot of stuff that I needed to work through personally because I felt so shameful that I was a part of this industry. Even though I was completely on the other side doing amazing things, never, ever, ever doing anything like this. I was in fact receiving clients that were battered and beaten down and exhausted and felt taken advantage of, and they had this awful experience, and they'd come over to me and they'd tell me about this experience, and I felt helpless and hopeless. And it took me a really long time to first work through what I needed to work through to be in a place of neutrality where I wasn't mad, I wasn't angry, I wasn't resentful, I wasn't sad, I wasn't shameful. It was just like, hey, all right, this is going on, and I'm going to be pro chocolate. I'm going to be, this is what we do, and this is what we stand for. And when you come into my world, I'm going to under promise and I'm going to over deliver. And when you come into my world, I'm going to write you a dang birthday card every single year on your birthday because you are not a number. I'm going to make sure that you are seen. I will answer your questions on your calls. I will stay on calls longer. I will get more support coaches in our programs to make sure. We'll send more surveys. We'll do more support. Heck, I don't know of anyone doing this. Maybe there are. We offer free monthly workshops to all of our alumni. Free monthly workshops to all of our alumni. I have never been a part of a program that does that. I have never gone through someone's mastermind who offers that. And I have the best freaking mentors in the world, and I have not seen that. We are so committed to the actual growth, to the giving, not getting, to the serving, not selling, to the value, not viral. We are so committed to that. And I can go to sleep at night and drop my head on my pillow with pride and with a full body knowing that what we're doing every day is good work in this world. So I'd love to just strike up the conversation. I wonder if this at all was upsetting or triggering. It in by no way was supposed to be. That's not my intention. But I would love to just have an adult conversation. The post that I had put up on Instagram a couple weeks back had hundreds of comments, DMs, saves, shares, and for the most part, every single person, everyone was agreeing with me, not that it was you have to agree with me or disagree with me, but it was just, thank you so much for being authentic. Scream it louder for the people in the back. I'm so glad that you're saying this. Preach. Oh my gosh, there's so much of this awful stuff going on. This is such a beautiful, way that you're speaking about it. I've been manipulated in the past. I was taken advantage of in the past. This message brings me to tears. I feel so vulnerable. Please send this out. This is feisty. This is spicy. I couldn't agree more. I'm so sick of seeing stuff like this. This makes me so proud that you're my coach. This makes me so excited to work with you. Thank you for being a trailblazer. I'm literally reading comments right now. Straight from the page. This is my favorite post I've seen in a while. This is the stance that you're taking. I love this. This is great. We're preaching on this one. Deceitful marketing is just awful. It's got to stop. These are all facts. This is so on point. This is literally everything I experienced before coming into your world. I feel so spoiled after working with you as my first coach. I've never seen someone hit the bar as high as you set it. Say this, pain point marketing. People are laughing about this. I couldn't agree more. Hundreds of comments and DMs came from this. And so for me, that was a pretty good indicator that it was a conversation that needed to be had. So I wanted to bring it to you on our podcast and our YouTube, and I wanted to bring it to the forefront of the conversation so that we can continue to have this conversation and continue to raise each other up. My friends, If you love this episode, if you haven't listened to part 1, please go back and listen to part 1. It's good, I promise you. If you loved this, either part of it, both parts of it, it would mean the world if you shared it out. It's a really important conversation to have. If we can get this conversation in the hands and ears and eyes of more people on the internet, I have a funny feeling that we'll see less and less of this icky, yicky, sticky stuff. As always, share it out on social, tag me, I am Jessica DeRose, and cheers to your evolution. Thank you for being a part of my corner of the internet. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you loved this episode, I invite you to be a part of our ripple effect and share it with a friend. And please, if you feel called, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review, and I'll be forever grateful. Until next time, cheers to your evolution.